What's up, everybody? The world's gone mad, hasn't it? Things are changing beyond belief at such a rapid pace. It's unbelievable. The world we're living in right now is almost unrecognisable from the one that we thought we all knew, just a week ago. And those rapid changes, those significant changes, are proving to be very difficult for so many people on so many different levels. And so today I thought we'd do a video about dealing with change. Something that the Formula One industry is incredibly good at. Formula One teams stand out for me because of how well they're able to adapt and deal with change. They're creative, they have ingenuity beyond belief, they're resourceful, they're resilient. And those are all the kind of things that you and I need in abundance to be able to cope with this rapidly changing situation that we're all facing together. Now look, I know that this is serious for many people. It poses some very serious health risks for large sections of our society. And for that, of course, you have to follow the latest advice and be sensible. And in fact, on that note, great to see and hear that at least 4 of the Formula One teams are getting involved in the fight back against this by switching over their advanced manufacturing capabilities from producing parts of Formula One cars to producing components that might help build respirators, ventilators that could literally keep people alive. That's amazing. And I fully hold my hands up and say, somebody on Twitter right at the beginning of this sent me a message saying, could this happen? Could Formula One teams produce ventilators with their 3D manufacturing capabilities and all of the other expertise they have? And my flippant response, I'm ashamed to say, was, that's ridiculous. Of course they can't. They're not geared up for that sort of thing. They're Formula One teams. They produce Formula One cars. I was wrong. And I'm pleased to say I was wrong, because 4 teams now are getting involved and they are being able to switch over that incredible talent and resource and capability into the fight against this unbelievable situation that we're all facing. That's amazing news. There's also very serious risks, financial risks for a lot of people. Many of you, I'm sure, are going to really struggle throughout this. I'm in the same boat. I mentioned it the other day, I'm a freelancer, and many of my freelance colleagues will be in similar situations. There's going to come a point very soon, literally very soon, where I won't be able to pay my mortgage. That's a real risk, that's a real threat. And I know that millions of people will be far worse off than I am in that situation. The purpose of this video is to perhaps put a bit of F1 perspective, a little bit of F1 way of thinking, which is something that's been drummed into me throughout my entire career. And that's why that I'm still smiling throughout this. That's why I'm still able to stay positive, because I know that there are ways that we can deal with this. And the purpose of this video is to perhaps share some of my insights, some of the ways that I know that F1 engineers or F1 teams would be dealing with these challenges that are being thrown up for so many people. So look, don't come to me for health advice, don't come to me for financial advice, but maybe I can offer something from my many years in the world of Formula One, where I've had it drummed into me that, a big change can produce an opportunity. It doesn't have to just simply be a threat. Those who see it as a threat will ultimately fail. They will be the ones that get left behind. Those who see it as an opportunity or dig out an opportunity from this changing environment, those will be the ones who survive and thrive in this. So maybe I can help you with your mindset. Maybe I can help you with your way of thinking. Maybe Formula One can help you overcome some of the challenges you might be facing. When it comes to work, it might feel like the goalposts have suddenly been moved or the rug's been pulled from underneath your feet. Maybe like me, you've got to start sharing your desk.
Lucky guy.
The goalposts for a Formula One team are always moving, aren't they? It's a constantly changing environment. The things you have to do to survive, let alone be successful one week, are probably not going to be good enough just 2 weeks later. You have to be forever evolving as a team, forever adapting. And that's the key, adapting. I was trying to think of a good example that might help illustrate just what I'm talking about, and I think this does it very well. One of my favourite technologies in Formula One, the exhaust blown diffuser. It's been around for years in different forms, but Red Bull pioneered it, didn't they? Right at the end of the 2000s, very successfully, went on to win multiple championships as a result of what they learnt through this. And the point was, the exhaust tailpipe used to exit right here in this weird position at the back of the floor, right ahead of the inside of the rear tyre. Hot, energised airflow, exhaust gases would come out of here and effectively form a seal, sealing off the messy, turbulent, disruptive weight from the rear tyre away from the critical area of the back of the diffuser, the top of the diffuser. It generated huge amounts of downforce, was incredibly efficient, and as I say, was one of the things that enabled Red Bull to have so much success during that era. But once they had almost perfected this, once they'd put a huge amount of time and energy and resource into making this work, the rules changed. The FIA come along and go, right, we're not having that anymore, that's banned. And then they designated a position where the exhaust tailpipe had to exit. It could no longer exit down here, but had to be much further up on the back of the bodywork, back of the side pod. So what do? You adapt. So they did. They used a scientific phenomenon called the Coanda effect to utilise those hot exhaust gases and get a very similar effect, but within the new framework of the rules, within the new goalposts. Now the exhaust has to exit all the way up here, but using the contours of the bodywork, knowing that the Coanda effect states that a fluid, or airflow in our case, will follow the contours of a surface. Therefore, it will stick to the surface. It won't just exit out here and disappear in a messy, turbulent fashion. It will follow the contours of this bodywork. So by shaping that bodywork and little associated fins along the side of the floor here, you can still guide those hot, energised, useful airflow gases out of the exhaust into the area where you need them most. Once you know what it is you're trying to achieve, it's now just about trying to find different ways to achieve it. When the European Union announced that ban on tobacco advertising, that was a huge change for Formula One. You know, as a team, we'd become so reliant on the tobacco industry to bankroll, you know, our organisation and even our sport, so that when it went, people had to adapt. And I'm not just talking about going out to find a new sponsor, but now we had to really compete for those sponsors. Formula One had been for quite a while pretty much the last place that tobacco companies could advertise their products on the global scale that we could offer in F1 terms. And that means that we as a team, we didn't have to work very hard for that. People were turning up and almost throwing cash at us. Great time to be involved in the sport. But when it went, people had to adapt. People had to think differently. We now had to go out into the wider world and compete for the sponsorship that we still needed, still an expensive sport, but now we're up against other global sports like tennis and football and rugby, competing for the sponsors and all of their hundreds of millions of dollars. They could get exposure in many different places, but we adapted very well. We thought differently about the way we approached sponsors, about the way we targeted sponsors. Instead of just taking the next tobacco company in the queue that was going to hand over checks for hundreds of millions of dollars, we scientifically searched out the right sponsors that might work for us, that it became an information sharing process where we as a team might be able to benefit from the relationship with a technology partner, for example, as opposed to just being a one-way street where a tobacco company would get exposure and we get a load of cash. So from what was potentially a huge threat to our existence, and that's how lots of people saw it, we were able to turn that into an advantage by partnering with somebody that could give us a technological advantage, perhaps in some other area, as well as the cash we needed to go racing. Now, if in this changing time you find yourself, you know, like me, with your regular work stream dried up, gone, essentially that industry that I work in has been shut down, like that. That's hard to cope with. We've got to try and find ways to deal with that, and we're all going to have to find different ways to cope with that depending on what industry we work in. Some of that we have no control over. The things we do have control over are what we do now, our own actions, the things we do in response to these moving goalposts. I'm trying to work out new ways that I can grow this channel, for example, and maybe do other things. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. But one of the things Formula One would be doing in this situation, and in fact is doing in this situation, is putting its skills to new use, trying to find ways to maximise the people, the expertise, the facilities. You know, what resources do they have at their disposal, and what good can we do with them? We can do the same with that. One of the things that we can have some control over is our own mindset, our own health, mental health and well-being. We can take control of that. Maybe this changing scenario that we're all facing provides an opportunity, because maybe we didn't have time to do certain things in the past that maybe now we do have time to get on and do.
Maybe it's a chance to do some of those jobs you've been putting off for ages. Perhaps it's a good chance, maybe even a good idea, to get out from behind your desk every once in a while and get out and go for a walk, get some fresh air. Go for a run! If the kids are off school and stuck at home with you as well, all the kids, try and see that as a positive. That could be a nice opportunity to spend some time together having fun. Some of those simple things can really make a difference. They can really help keep spirits high or morale high, and that's really important right now. It's something Formula One equally does very well with inside its teams. Formula One's also an industry that's very kind of target driven, so that works. Set yourselves targets. You know, I've got a bit more time at home, which is a huge bonus for me anyway. I get to spend time with my family, but I've also set myself some little targets, some challenges. Randomly, having never played the piano in my entire life, I've decided I'm going to learn how to play a song on the piano, and I will do it. I'm going to get better at this, at sim racing, because I have the time to do it. I enjoy it. It's going to put a smile on my face. And that's what we all need to do, is help each other put smiles on our faces. So one of the things that I've decided to do that I hope will help put a smile on your face, but it's definitely going to put one on mine as well, I know it, is I'm going to do an Ask Elvis video, but with kids. And I'd love for you guys to get involved. If you've got cute kids, youngsters that are interested in Formula One, you know, I'd love to start doing a series on Formula One for kids, and I thought I'd start it off with an Ask Elvis version by kids. So if you guys can send me a video just taken on your mobile phone in landscape mode, not like that, but like that, that would be great. Send it in. It can be any sort of question, a silly question, a cute question, a hilarious question, an awkward question, whatever you want. I'll try and do my best and put together a video that I can already imagine could be hilarious, but also, you know, really entertaining for everybody at a time when we really kind of need some entertainment to take our mind away from it. It's really easy to see the negatives in this situation. They're everywhere. They're playing 24 hours a day on the news channels, and it's easy to get sucked into that and constantly be listening to it. But what happens then is you become negative. What we need to do is try and find positives, try to find opportunities, no matter how small they might be. Again, the thing that Formula One is incredibly good at is finding even the tiniest opportunities. Because when you find tiny opportunities, you find a few of them, you put them together, it ends up being a significant advantage or a significant opportunity that you could benefit from. And in this period of time, that's so important for us right now. I know I can't solve all the problems. I mean, maybe I can't solve any of them. But what Formula One teams do well is be teams. No one individual wins a Grand Prix or a World Championship. They have to do it with every single person in that team working together. And that's what we need to do right now. You know, we're a little team here. We've been building this community over time. We can help each other get through this. And maybe a little video of kids asking Formula One questions might be a nice way to start it off. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it perhaps a little bit motivating. You know, if it motivates you to get off the sofa and go and do something, set yourself a target. And once you've achieved it, you'll have an amazing feeling, amazing sense of achievement and well-being, which you may not have had otherwise. I hope. Anyway, let me know how you get on. Stay safe, look after each other, guys, and I'll catch you very soon. Ta-ra.